These three gentlemen take mental well-being seriously, but are not serious. They'd rather swear and make irreverent jokes. Now that you know, the Healy make and mince.
Come one, come all, to a feast for the senses. Sounds, yes, but also sight, and perhaps smell. Welcome to We're Probably Not Okay, a podcast that makes fun of mental well-being. I'm your host for this episode, Shepherd of the Forest, Brandon Full, and with me, with his glorious fucking beard, is...
your very best friend, Ryan Brown.
Ryan, what do you smell like right now? Be honest.
Well, I usually got like some like a lavender situation happening with my my laundry detergent. I don't wear cologne.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's a completely normal thing for an adult human to do, it still feels pretentious to me for some reason. So I just have like soap and deodorant and then whatever my laundry detergent is, which is lavendery.
That's fair.
And I'm David Musgrave.
So imagine that.
I
was waiting for Ryan to intro you, but what do you got, David? What do you got, third guy?
I am imagining that, Ryan. And third guy, David Musgrave, is the man who's also kissed by all angels. I'm thrown off. I don't know why. But and I smell like frosted coconut snowball. Because I put some of this lotion on my hands a little bit ago.
Lotion boy, eh?
It don't smell bad. That in degree and whatever my Tide free and clear gentle detergent is, that's what I smell like. I'm gonna smell like a little more lotion too.
I smell like deodorant and patchouli.
Ooh.
I always spray myself with patchouli before we record.
Oh, why is that? Why before we record?
It's calming smell. Yeah, it's a calming smell. Helps me. Same reason I have the green light on sometimes. It's calming. I like it.
That's interesting.
I like that you like it.
An interesting ritual.
It is.
If only we could do an episode on rituals at some point.
Oh my God. Did we already?
I'll have to go back in time and make sure that.
I think maybe.
So if one shows up on our feed in the past, know that I was successful in my mission.
Hell yeah. Yeah. We should also go back in and interject a new character that we've never done before called Salvatore. I don't know why, but I'm just stick with me for a second. It's a guy that likes to drink piss. Maybe. I don't know. We'll spitball it. If it shows up in the past episode, you'll know Ryan was successful. Yeah.
I don't know if I want Salvatore and spitballing in the same sentence.
Hey.
Oh, yikes. You guys ready for our mental health wellness check-in?
You got it, dude.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Between Ryan and David, because I'm going last. I've already decided.
Brian wants to go.
Brandon. Oh, you were pointing at Brandon on my screen.
No, remember, I'm always the downstairs boy. I'm the basement boy.
Yeah.
And whenever I point to one of you, it's the opposite. And you guys have to point the opposite direction that you think you guys are from each other, too. Yeah, that's Ryan.
Right.
And that's nobody.
Yeah, that's nobody.
See, right there, that's Brandon for me.
No.
I guess Brandon's over here.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There you go.
Brandon, get back over there. Where you
I'm
belong.
sorry. So how have you been, Sir Brown?
Well, I quit my job last Friday. Yes, thank you. It has been awful. I'm not going to say where I work still, just for, reasons. But since last summer, it's just been absolutely ass awful. And I've worked at this job for close to 9 years. And I honestly assumed, I really did think that I was going to continue to work there until society collapsed or I died. Since let's just be real, gentlemen, we're not going to get to retire. We're going to have to work till we die or until the world ends.
Correct.
Correct. So I just assumed I'd work there until society collapsed. But there was a change in management over the summer, and it has become a wildly different work environment. Extremely toxic, extremely just awful, extremely stressful. And it was stressful before, only insofar as, like, you know, you were dealing with people's mental health and people's personal struggles and stuff like that, and that can be stressful to a degree. But the amount of pressure that's put on us now to be profitable is, and like I said, the toxicity of management. They're very abusive people, like very abusive. Like, that's not like hyperbole or anything. They come in and like scream and yell and degrade us and stuff like that. And it's just been awful. And the sense that I get is that it's not going to change anytime soon, period.
Yeah.
And the only way that it could potentially change, because in a corporate structure like that, typically speaking, like, management is protected. So they can, treat anybody however they want to treat them. They can make any kind of mistakes they want. They can completely torpedo programs and, and suffer no consequences. And it was very much looking like that was what was going to happen. Like, the program that I was a part of was probably going to be run into the ground by management. And that, it was also stressful. Like, my stress level was as such that, like, I was having pretty bad chest pain and this awesome constant pain in my left side. So I was, like, pretty sure that within the next couple of years I was going to have a heart attack, just based on everything that was going on. So I quit I put in my 2 weeks on Friday. I have gotten, I got another job lined up already. Like, I start on the 27th, also doing social work, just for a nonprofit this time, as opposed to a for-profit, which is nice, because as they told me in the interview, they literally do not care about turning a profit. So
yeah,
but the sole motivation is the betterment of people's lives. So on the one hand, like, I'm glad, but there is also a lot of anxiety that comes with, like, such a huge life change. Like I said, almost 9 years I've worked at this place.
Of course.
And going into a pretty unknown circumstance. Like, everybody I've met from this new organization seems very cool and down to earth and dedicated to helping others. But I mean, you still never know. Like,
Yep.
They could hire somebody 6 months from now who turns out to be a real fucking monster or something, and that changes the game entirely,
Yeah.
But and then also too, the position that I'm being hired into is a leadership position, and I've never had an official, like, leadership position before. I've always had what one of my coworkers referred to as big brother energy, where not like a manager or something like that, but like someone that all the other coworkers, like, come to and talk to and share their issues and problems with, but not somebody who can really affect change or anything like that. So there's some anxiety there. And just in the interim, after putting in my notice, I've sort of put a target on my back because like I said, our management, they're very toxic people, and they're very, very petty people. So very much going to be punished for this for the remainder of my time here with this organization. So not looking forward to that either.
But guess what?
But
they can't do shit to you, dude. Fuck yeah.
I know.
You can literally look at them and say, I don't care. You can do that at any point.
I can do that.
At any point.
I can be like, well, are you going to fire me for this? Because I'm going to leave then.
Like, oh, you're treating me like shit. That's awful. You've been doing this for my entire career here, but now you're just doing it out of spite. And guess what? I don't care. You could say that, and they couldn't do anything to you, man. Like,
yeah, and I mentioned that when I handed in my 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 resignation, because I emailed it to my direct supervisor, his boss, and then her boss. So like 3 tiers, and then HR. And I mentioned like I'm quitting specifically because the toxic work environment here has begin to become a detriment to my mental health, my physical health, and my life outside of work. That is why I'm quitting.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about getting a new job or like taking a new position. I was like, I'm quitting because this place sucks shit now.
Yeah.
So I think that also probably was not appreciated, but
I'm sure not. And I'm glad. I'm glad they don't appreciate it. I hope they're really, really hurt in the butt about it, actually, because they deserve it.
I too hope they are hurt in the butt. But it's just been very stressful, and like everybody's been super supportive about it. Like all my coworkers were extremely supportive of me. Another coworker of mine, in a completely unrelated circumstance, but also not unrelated, as you'll see, quit on the same day I did. Like also handed in their notice on the same day because of the abusive environment, but not like we didn't like, this wasn't a
suicide
choreographed thing. Yeah. It just happened to work out. Although that would have been awesome. Like if we had been like, let's all do this together. Cause another one of my coworkers also quit, or handed in their notice, not at the same time. So the program is hemorrhaging people because of this, this behavior, this atmosphere, this extreme toxicity. But like I said, like management will escape consequences because of their position. So like they'll get to completely destroy this program in multiple people's lives, not just me and my coworkers, but the people that the program helps.
Yeah,
in the process, and completely escape consequences. So,
well, that's the part that sucks is really the people that suffer on the other side of it. But I mean, it's not your fault or your coworkers' fault. It's absolutely the fault of those who made it so that it was impossible for you to help other people, which was the whole point of your job. So I feel bad for those individuals, but I definitely don't feel bad for that management. And I got to think that there will be some consequences for them one way or the other, for the fact that if they are supposed to maintain the program and they have no one to maintain it with, I mean, that's going to be uncomfortable for them in one regard or another. And I think it speaks volumes that 3 people quit back to back to back. So I've got to think that there'll be some consequences, whether it's just a short-term inconvenience or, long-term impact to their own careers. I don't know, but
well, I shy of getting visited by like 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve. I don't think that this particular management individual will be recognizing the error of their ways anytime soon, despite whatever consequences they may endure. So either way, I would have to go.
Right.
Like, even if they woke up one morning and they were like, is that what I do to people? Should I just not do that anymore? Should I be a good person? Like, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon,
He may wake up one morning and be like, you know what? I should have let my employees spank me. That's what I should have. That's what I should have done.
I should have.
Would have all been different.
Yeah, the world would have been a different place. But no, I mean, just a lot of anxieties surrounding that. And,
sure.
And, I'm sure that, I don't know. I sincerely hope it'll be okay.
Well, I'm choosing to believe it will be for you. And I know it is difficult. Change is always hard, especially a change after 9 years. Like you said, I mean, that's a long time to, and I know you went through a short period of change where you did something a little bit different for a short period of time and had to go back. But I truly believe that you're going to find working for a nonprofit to be a completely different experience. I'm choosing to believe that for sure. And I hope that you find peace there. And I hope more than anything, you find an environment that really does foster your helping people, because I think that's what you're good at and what you're meant to do. And I'm super excited and proud. And I know that it will be uncomfortable, even once you're in the new position and learning to be a leader. But I also think that if you are just yourself and don't try to put on a leadership hat, which I don't see you doing, but just be yourself. And
I only got this one. This is the only one I got.
Oh, that's not a leadership hat. It looks like a toboggan to me. It's
a chill guy hat.
It's a chill guy hat. So just be a chill guy. That's as you always are. And I think people will naturally follow you and you'll do good things. So I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you're going to fall right into a leadership role, and I think you're going to be good at it. I think you're going to surprise yourself. If you allow yourself to be happy with yourself, I think you will surprise yourself.
I'll do my best. I don't have a good track record with that, so
well, prove yourself wrong, Ryan.
I can speak from personal experience in different obvious situation, but as you all know, I was not happy with my previous employment and moved into a place that actually appreciates me and supports me. And it's still scared. Like our last episode, I got compliments and I'm like, am I getting fired? You're being nice to me. What does this mean?
Yeah.
That will still happen, but I think that you will find that at the same time, it's a breath of fresh air, man. And I really, really hope that for you too. So,
I appreciate it. Who wants to go next?
David does.
Voice of podcast, you're back.
David does.
We haven't heard Voice of Podcast for a long time.
I know, I missed it.
Yeah, me too. Welcome back, Voice of Podcast.
Thank you.
And it missed us.
It did. And now it's back. My mental hellness is good. I mean, nothing, still getting out of the post-holiday, like trying to be a real boy again type of thing. But like, getting into it a little bit more. And I have Monday off. So it's like, it's going to be all over again next week. But I'm not going to complain about that. Kira hit a deer, or should I say a deer hit Kira. And that was really, it's an inconvenience, but also like we're so freaking lucky because what happened, she, according to her, she's driving, deer pops its head. And for those of you watching, you get the benefit of hand puppets.
The other side of my car.
Well,
Driver's side of the car.
Okay. This is her and this is the deer, I guess. Popped its head out of the woods. And as soon as it hit the road, it decides to leap and jump into the windshield. And
ambitious.
I mean, you got to give that deer credit. That was a feat of athleticism in its final moments. And if it had got just a little bit further, it would not have hit the frame on the door, which ultimately it did. I mean, like it smashed straight in front of her. You could tell the mass of it hit right in front of her and just shattered and warped in the windshield. But luckily enough of it hit the frame of the door to where it then kind of just rolled up and over. Very little damage done to the car other than the windshield, and took off the side mirror. We actually just replaced it just a little bit ago. Got the part and just replaced that, and we had somebody come out and replace the windshield. So inconvenient and a little bit expensive, but I mean, dude, even the cop that came and like saw it was like, "Whoa, you're lucky. Like, we've had 2 people over in whatever county like the last month die because deer did this exact same thing and went right through the windshield, and that's almost what happened here." And we're like, "Thanks." But no, she's really lucky, and Charlotte was in the car too. So like, if they could have been so much worse. Charlotte was on her tablet, didn't notice a thing, didn't look up. So she was not fazed from it at all. And in fact, like I had my neighbor drive me down the road to where she was, and Charlotte's in the back. I'm just like checking on her. She's playing on her tablet. I'm like, "You cool? Everything good?" "Yeah, I'm good." Just playing on my tablet. So that could have been much, much worse. So, thank the fates, thank the heavens think Beelzebub, think whoever did it.
Yeah, man, when you sent those pictures, it was shocking how much damage was done to that window.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like literally, I feel like if it was like half a foot further in, it would have gone through the windshield instead of rolling up and over.
If the deer was a little bit heavier.
Or if the deer was a little heavier, yeah.
Yeah.
The physics of it were very close.
Deer are both majestic and super stupid.
Oh,
or
they're
at least
Stupid, yeah.
they have no sense of self-preservation towards vehicles at all.
No.
And you would think, I mean, when was the vehicle invented? Henry Ford was like, what, the 1940s?
No, it was
before that. Yeah, it was like 19.
I think it was the
10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because so deer have had over 100 years to figure out what fucking cars are at this point.
Yeah. I'm going to guess 1912. Kira, look up when the automobile was invented. I'm going to guess 1912. Ryan, what you got?
Holy shit. Okay, the first automobile
Hold on. Ryan's got
was considered to be the Benz patent motor car invented by Carl Benz in 1885.
1885?
Yep.
Okay, so they've been zooming around on the road, even if that car only went 15 miles an hour, however fast it went. You would think deer would have figured something out at this point.
Assembly line.
Yeah,
When did the assembly line get created? 1912. Look it up. I guarantee it.
I stake my reputation on this.
Yeah.
Henry Ford made his first trial run in a small four-wheeled vehicle called a quadricycle, described by historian Alan Nivens as a strikingly small, the lightest vehicle of its type ever produced, in June 4th, 1896.
Bullshit. All lies.
Listen. Ask the chat GPTs. Let's ask the chat GPTs.
Yeah, the chat GPTs are on my side. I guarantee it.
Let's ask the chat gifts. When was car invented?
When car start.
When car. Hey, computer, when car.
When car. Anyway, yeah, so other than that, though, like, just work has gotten busy. And
yeah. ChatGPT also says 1885.
1912, got it. Damn ChatGPT.
Revisionist history there.
But yeah, work has realized.
I would have guessed in 1912 as well.
Yeah, right. It's a good sounding year, but
doesn't feel like cars should be that old.
Car old,
like cars. Yeah, like the Civil War was in 1863.
Yeah, they almost were scooting around in automobiles.
Yeah,
hitting deer on the battlefield.
Yeah. Beep beep. Stop having slaves. Beep beep. Yeah, work decided that I have skills that they want to use, so like I'm on all these projects and teams and stuff now, and it was just so much nicer when I was flying under the radar. I really tried to just like do enough to make them happy, but
be a chill guy.
Yeah, be a chill guy. I didn't wear my chill guy hat. That probably was wrong. What was wrong? But yeah, so I'm getting a little busier and I'm getting a little more responsibility than I would like. But still, work is. I don't even really have to remind myself that it's so much better than I was feeling in my last position. So.
Oh, that's what I'm aiming for too. Feeling better than I was in my last position.
I gotta think it's coming your way, buddy. I gotta think.
I hope so.
Yeah. What about you, Brando the Wise?
This guy.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Let me check my notes that I have here so I didn't forget stuff. So things have been pretty much going okay for me. Nothing exciting. Well, that's not true. There are some exciting things. But I had a bad few days, like pretty bad. I ended up like Monday just sleeping all day, like Sunday afternoon to like Monday night. I just slept. Literally, I would wake up, look at the clock and be like, this sucks, fuck it, and just go back to sleep. But I got through the worst of it by just sleeping, so I feel a lot better now, I will say. So here I am. I made another therapy appointment, so you can do it, guys. Thumbs up to that. I also got hit by a car. My car got hit by a car a few days ago. I think I told you guys this in chat, right?
I heard that part. For a second, though, I thought maybe Kira veered out of the way and hit you.
You got hit.
No, my car got hit by a car.
Costume and running around North Carolina the other day.
That's me, dear Brandon.
Dear Brandon.
Yeah, I was pulling into 7-Eleven. I was pulling into 7-Eleven and I was at the gas pump. And then right as I pulled in to get gas, I saw that every gas pump had like a fucking bag over it where you couldn't get gas. So I just continued to pull forward into the parking lot and somebody was backing up and I didn't see them backing up and they obviously didn't see me and they just backed up right into me. So I stopped. Like I saw them at the last second. I flipped it in reverse and started backing up as fast as I could while honking at them, but it wasn't fast enough. So we stop, they pull up a little bit, and I think they're just driving away. And I'm like, well, that fucking makes sense. They're just going to drive away, of course. But they get out, and the first thing the guy says to me, he's a young guy, like maybe his mid-20s. And the first thing he says to me is, did you not see me? And I was like, clearly, did you not see me? And like, we were both kind of shitty for a second. And then he looks at it and he's like, oh, that'll buff right out. I work on cars. That'll buff right out. And I was like, I don't even care, man. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want to handle this? And I was like, if you just want to drive away, I'm fine with that. And he was like,
leave me alone. That would be the ideal scenario.
I was like, this car has almost 200,000 miles on it. It's literally a scratch. It didn't fuck up the frame besides scratching the shit out of it, which it did. And I'm like, I don't want to get my insurance bumped up for this. Right. Because then it's going to be he said, she said. It's probably just as much my fault as it is his. You know, so I was like, let's just leave it at that if you're fine with that. And the dude was like, man, I've been doing Instacart to make enough money to get insurance, so I don't even have insurance on my car right now. And I was like, perfect.
Oh, good.
We'll just let this go then.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Good of you to let that go. I probably would have done the same.
Yeah, I definitely.
I figured you guys would too. I mean, if my frame was fucked up, it would have been different. Like if my car was undrivable, but just a scratch and like, who cares?
Right.
It's not like a new car.
I definitely like the I don't want to look at your face approach anymore. Just go away. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, just drive away.
I don't want to talk
Please
to you anymore.
leave.
He was like, I'll give you my phone number and you can get a hold of me and I'll buff that out. And I was like, don't even worry about it, man.
Yeah, we're done.
No,
I don't want your number.
I would rather never speak to you again, honestly.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Our relationship is over as of now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Have a good day.
My other notes here. I've mentioned that I have 2 D&D games that I play in. One of them I run as a DM and one of them I play in during the week. Well, the one I run as a DM has not happened in weeks at this point, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I wanted to mention the game that I play in, how much fun I've been having with that. We're running a module called Out of the Abyss, which is an old D&D module. But the guy running it's a really good DM. He's listened to a couple of our episodes, so I'm not just saying that because he listens. But yeah, he has listened to a few of the episodes, said he enjoys them. I don't want to give his name because I haven't made sure that I can give his name, but
call him.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Derek.
Master Dungeon Man.
Master Dungeon Man.
Master Dungeon Man.
Please. Master Dungeonman is my father. You can call me Derek.
And then final thing, I found out that 2 of my favorite musical artists are putting out new albums this year.
Sweet. Who?
So I'm pretty stoked about that. The Taxpayers, who is one of my all-time favorite bands, are putting out a new album coming out next month. Comes out on cassette, LP, and CD, so it's a pretty big release. Oh. And then one of my other favorite retired musicians, Pat the Bunny, who I mentioned before in our music episode, he is coming out of retirement. It's a rumor, but it's all but been confirmed by multiple folk punk artists on the folk punk subreddit. He's coming out of retirement and doing a split with somebody.
Nice. That's really cool.
So, and it's supposed to be coming out sooner rather than later. So I'm hoping I can get that one on vinyl. The Taxpayers one I'm going to have to miss just because I asked for it. Plus, like, it's new, so I'll buy it digital and then maybe get it vinyl later. But the Pat the Bunny one, I will get on vinyl somehow. So pretty stoked about that.
Sweet.
Yep. But guys, there's one thing. If there's one thing you know about me as a person, it's the one thing I always say. The one thing, like my catchphrase, basically.
Let's all
You guys
say it
know what I'm
together.
talking
Let's all
about?
say it at the same time because
Yeah.
we all know it. Let's
Yeah.
say it at the same time. Brandon, you want to start?
Sometimes it
No. You obviously okay. It's fine. It's fine. You guys don't know my catchphrase. I'll just tell it to you now, so you guys.
Yeah, let's say it.
And if as soon as I say it, it'll spark your memory.
right,
again.
right.
If you remember, my catchphrase is a little long and it's a poem.
Right. Right. Oh, it's coming back to me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I just drop a big bowl of chili on my foot and it spills everywhere and the camera zooms in on me and I say, you know, all the world's creatures draw drafts of joy from nature.
Nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both the just and the unjust follow in her gentle footsteps. She gave us kisses and wine and a friend loyal unto death.
Mhm.
She gave the joy of life to the lowliest and to the angel who dwell with God.
God.
I remember you said that to me when we graduated high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in my yearbook. They actually printed a full page just so they could put the whole quote under my picture.
Yeah.
Oh. That is, of course, I'm being a little silly, guys and listeners. That is a poem written by German poet, playwright, and historian Friedrich Schiller in 1785, which was later adapted to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and known as Ode to Joy.
Oh, look at that.
So this topic for this episode, listeners, is going to be joy. And what I've decided, I think I mentioned it last episode, each of my topics, when it comes back to me, is going to be on a different emotion until I run through a couple of them, just so I can give myself some focus in picking topics. So I wanted to start with question 1, if you guys are ready for this, which would be, how do you personally define joy? How do you feel like it differs from happiness?
Well, I think happiness is more subtle, more soft. Happiness is like background radiation. Joy is like an explosion.
Yeah, I like that. I do think joy is a more powerful feeling for sure, a more active feeling. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good way.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I had too. My thought was that overwhelming happiness comes in bursts, often followed by a more mellow happiness. So I feel like you've got your joy, and then when the joy wears off, a lot of times you still have that underlying happiness, and the joy is like Ryan, you said, the explosion of it. You know, the kind of feeling that makes you want to cry with a smile on your face.
Tears of joy. Yeah, that makes
Tears
sense.
of joy.
That makes sense.
Have you ever been surprised by joy in an unexpected situation?
Yeah, I think probably with my daughter, there are definitely times where she'll do something that just catches me off guard. I'm just like, oh, that was super sweet, or I can't believe she thought of that, or is very clever or smart or just loving unexpectedly, and then all of a sudden I'll feel like that was really nice, and you kind of get caught off guard with it in that way. I would say that's probably the most recent example I have of that.
What about you, Ryan?
The last time I remember feeling unexpected joy was when I turned 40 for my 40th birthday. And I know I mentioned on the podcast when it happened, when I turned 40, but my coworkers, usually when you do an office birthday thing, it's cute, it's sweet, people bring in food and you get a card and stuff like that. And when I turned 40, my coworkers, they went super hard on it, and they all they got me a bunch of stuff and whatnot, but they all showed up to the office dressed like me.
Yeah.
That's
they were
awesome.
They were all wearing khakis and a flannel and a beanie and a black t-shirt. And it was it was a very silly thing, but it was also a very, I don't know, I felt seen and appreciated and loved, and it made me feel, and it was unexpected, of course, like you were saying.
That's exceptionally touching.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And I'm not a person has a lot of, I don't know, tender moments like that in their life.
Mm.
You know, I'm the kind of person who sees a raised hand and is expecting to get hit, not high fived. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really sweet, actually.
Yeah, that is
And
nice.
it made me very happy.
That is really nice.
For me, I have a couple of them here. The first one was, I wish I could say finding out that I was going to have a daughter, because my first reaction was, oh shit. You know, there wasn't that like, I'm going to be a dad. I was in no position to be a father at that point financially.
Yeah.
But you know, everything has worked out, I will say. But yeah, so the joy came after the calm washed over me, you know, and I realized like, hey, I am going to be a dad. I might be 22 years old, but I'm going to have a kid. I'm bringing somebody into this world, and I've got somebody to raise. And that hit me. There was a joy that hit me then, quickly followed by nerves again, you know, and oh shit, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
But another joyous moment that I can think of involving my daughter is she was maybe like 6 years old or so. We were at the playground, and she was playing on like one of those you know, those things that are like an animal you sit on, and then they're on a spring and you kind of bounce back and forth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Forth. Yeah. She was playing on one of those. Did you guys lose me?
For a second, but we can hear you again.
Second, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my internet's all fucky. But anyway,
I heard playing on a bouncy horse.
She was playing on a bouncy horse, and she just yells out, "I'm having fun." And it was the most like genuine "I'm having fun" I've ever heard, and I knew that she, with all of her heart, I was providing her fun and enjoyment and happiness.
Yeah.
And that brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to that. That's similar to what I was saying. So I those moments of just pure, unadulterated, like childhood wonderment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my final memory of unexpected joy, actually, Ryan, you were a part of this.
I was?
You were. I don't remember what age I was, but I had a surprise birthday party thrown for me by the girl I was dating at the time.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and you were there. You helped run it.
I was there.
I had no idea. We were playing a D&D campaign, and I fell into a room. Have I told this story before?
Yeah, but tell it again.
I don't think you told it on the podcast, have you? Anyway, continue. Yeah, just tell it.
Okay, we were playing D&D, and Ryan, you were DMing, and I was playing a half-orc half-orc fighter named Soulless, because I was very dark and deep at the time. And I fell into a room, and Ryan, you were like, "You're surrounded by boxes, but they're wrapped in paper of some kind." And I wasn't even thinking anything, so I was like presents? Because it was my birthday. And you were like, "Yeah, like presents." And then I turned around, or you like pointed, and I turned around, and my girlfriend was walking in with just a fuck ton of presents for me.
That's awesome.
And she had bought me a GameCube and Super Smash Brothers.
Hell yeah.
I remember,
So
yeah.
We were at, I think, Ethan's parents' house playing, because they were out of town. So I hooked up the GameCube right then and played some Smash Brothers, and it was badass.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
And that was one of those moments, like, I think the people dressing up as you, Ryan, where you realize, like, man, I've got people that actually care about me. This is nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
That is That's what a good way to surprise by including the D&D campaign. That's very cool.
Yeah, and then Ryan as DM gave me Skeletor's sword. I don't know if you remember that, Ryan.
Did.
You statted up Skeletor's sword.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then you did a similar, not exactly the same thing, but when it was my birthday and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, you said I could at some point during the game I could do something completely awesome and I wouldn't have to roll for it, and it was at my discretion. So
like a birthday wish. That's awesome.
yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I remember that.
Well, all of us surprised each other with the birthday tanks. Do you remember those? The birthday tanks we would do. Oh man, I can't believe you guys forgot this. David, I don't remember if you were part of this, but Ryan, you were. We would take presents and we would wrap them and then build them into a makeshift tank and take like a wrapping paper tube for the turret of the tank and then bring it in for people's birthdays. We did it for Jeremy's. We did it for yours. Somebody did it for mine. It was a birthday tank.
That's awesome.
I don't remember that. I believe you. That definitely sounds like something we would do.
Yeah, it was a lot of
For
fun.
sure.
But question 3. What are some activities, people, or places that consistently bring you joy?
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's a tough one. Activities, people, or places that consistently bring me joy. Well, I mean, obviously, my wife and daughter bring me joy. I'm trying to think. I always like when Kira and I can just have some time to cook together or create something together. We often kind of craft or make shirts and playing games. Like playing games with her is probably something that brings me more joy than anything. I love the act of just like playing a board game or something where we can just like chill out and like lose ourselves for a moment. We don't have the ability to do that a ton for several reasons. One, being parents, that is hard of a young child. But two, like you also have to have friends that want to play games. But I'm really excited. She actually for Christmas got me Settlers of their Rivals of Catan, which is a 2-player card game version of the board game Catan. And we haven't played it yet, but I'm really excited because that's something we could sit down and do. Like doing puzzles together with her and stuff like that. It's also really good. We've gotten into playing puzzle games, like video games, puzzle games. That always brings me quite a lot of joy. We can kind of sit down and just shut our brains off of life and just get into a fake scenario and try to figure out solutions for stupid things, instead of try to figure out solutions to our problems in real life. But yeah, dining out with her and doing stuff like that. So it's the little things with.
What I love, man, is even as you're saying this on video, like you can see in your eyes just how much you enjoy it. Like you can see that you are genuine in what you're saying,
Well,
I think that's cool.
And I think, I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. I tell people that, but it's like, it's not just something I say. It's really, really 100% true. Like when I look back at, in my past situations, past partners, I was always trying to find more. I was always trying to like, what's the next thing? How do I be happy? What's it going to take? Finding a good job where I make lots of money and get a bigger house or, a status symbol of some kind. What's it going to be? And even though I knew that wasn't really me, like I'm not a materialistic person, it still felt like I needed to find happiness externally. And I was not and Kira will tell you, even like when we got together, it was really hard for me to stop and slow down and enjoy the now. And that is something that I have finally realized. It's like, oh no, this is it. This is as good as it gets. This is my life. This is the good stuff right here, right now. And to be able just to enjoy that and, and treat ourselves here and there to things that make us happy. But really it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just playing games together and enjoying each other and slowing down and watching our little girl play and,
Yeah.
Even I think I've said this on this podcast, but there's been moments where I'll be working right here behind me and they're out in the living room. I'm not even in the same room as them, but I can hear them like listening to music or dancing or playing a game and them talking and laughing and stuff. And this is like,
and you're like, shut up.
And I'm like, God damn it, I'm trying to work.
Shut the hell up about Pikachu for 30 seconds.
No, it's just like, I don't know. I've just had moment like the other day, it was really cold outside and it was kind of shitty and I'm all like bundled up and I've got my little space heater going and I'm just like listening to them play and stuff. And it was just really cozy all of a sudden. And
yeah,
so that's
awesome, man. What brings you, what are some activities, people, or places that consistently bring you joy, Ryan?
Doing martial arts would very much so bring me joy. just made me feel very much, and I don't know if this will make sense, but it made me feel very much like myself. Like the actual version of myself. And so there was definitely that. I still get a very sharp spike of joy anytime I see anything in the wild, whether it's at the store or at, the comic shop or Target or Walmart or the mall or something. Anytime I see anything like Superman related in the wild, I still get like that sharp spike of like little kid like that makes me very happy. And I would get a lot of joy whenever my kids and I would watch pro wrestling and they would react to things that were like happening. I would get a lot of joy out of that. I don't know why it was specifically, but seeing them like, react with like, oh, or oh my God, or something whenever like someone would pull off a crazy move or something like that. Like, or like some big dramatic thing would happen. Some character returns from the dead, or like someone runs in at the last minute to save somebody, and Willow would be like, "What?" That would always bring me a lot of joy, just to watch both of them sort of like react to something that we were watching. Gave me a lot of joy too.
For me, one of the things that I really enjoy doing is art. Specifically now, I do a lot. I know I talk about D&D all the time, but it's like one of the few things that I fucking do outside of like podcasting and stuff, But I write a lot for that. I make a lot of maps, which I really enjoy doing. And I get that joy when I finish something I'm creating artistically and I can finally put a little bow on it. You get that moment of joy where you're like, all right, off into the world you go. Yeah. I'm done with you. And that's a very nice feeling.
And do you feel a sense of completion, or do you like continue to tinker with things after they're done?
Once I finish about 3 times before I'm actually done completely.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's like
big boy.
George Lucas, he said films are never finished, they just escape.
Yeah, and that makes sense, but at the same time, like, there is a certain point where I'll work on a map and then I'll think I'm done. And then I'll pull it up to be like, okay, just want to make sure, I'll fix this, I'll fix that. But finally, like, on the website I use, you can publish it and put it out there for people to, like, download and reuse if you want to. So I've done that with a few maps.
That's cool.
And that's about, if I publish something, that's when I know that I'm 100% done with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I can piggyback off and say that doing this definitely brings me joy.
Yeah, that was going to be another thing I was going to mention too, David, is just doing the podcast and like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
And creating stuff, the podcast or doing Pokemon. That brings me joy. Like, I enjoy it quite a bit.
Doing it itself, like hanging out with you guys, that part is something that I've really grown to cherish and rely on in a lot of ways. Especially in the era of our age, it's very difficult to make adult friends and make connections where you can make really stupid jokes and be yourself. And I cherish that you guys knew me when I was 15 and knew how stupid and immature I was then, and how stupid and immature I am now as a result. So that is something that I don't have with anyone else. Other than Kira, of course, but an external friendship, that's like, I absolutely love that. So that always brings me joy. But even the completion aspect of it as well is, when we create something together, we're not doing like crazy art or anything, but I do like to then I have it. It's like, oh, there's our little recording, there's our little bubble of something that we had together, and then I get to wrap it in a bow. With our intro and a title card, and name it something silly and stupid, and then, like you said, kind of go out into the world,
give it a little smooch and let it sail away.
Yeah, exactly. And whether anyone watches it or listens to it or not doesn't matter. It's just like, oop, there's that little thing we did.
Yeah,
and even going back and looking at our our body of work is really a lot of fun to me. And be like, man,
It's huge.
yeah. Oh God, like thousands of bits of content that you can enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, no, we're at what, like episode? What episode is this?
This is 63.
60? 63? Yeah, that's quite a bit of episodes.
Which is good. And I think that, you know, especially with kind of our commitment to kind of doing more this year, even if like one of us has to bow out, you know, we're still going to do a little something or whatever. I think that number is going to probably go up quite a bit really quickly. And I think we'll be at 100 before we know it. And they're going to be like, oh my God. But, and it's not, I don't know what about that brings me joy to think about that. Like think about the milestones like that of hitting 75 and then 100 and then so on and so forth and doing
it's a deal
and finishing Pokemon and doing other silly things like that and one-offs and stuff.
How many people do you know that have started a podcast? Because I know a lot. And how many of those people have continued to do a podcast? Very little.
Yeah.
You know? So the fact that we've stuck through as much as we have and continue to do stuff is pretty impressive.
Well, no, I think so. I think so because, I mean, I even look back at, you know, I did the podcast before this, and I know you guys did as well. And I had people on my podcast that started podcasts, and that's how I met them. And so I would have them on and I'd go on their podcast. And then, like, I look and it's like, oh, your last episode was episode 20. Your last episode was episode 17. And that was years ago, and here we are still kicking. So, I think there is something to it.
And my final question is, are there any specific strategies you use to cultivate joy during difficult times?
Ooh.
Well, it's okay. So not a strategy for cultivating joy, but a strategy that I frequently use, like when I know that, I don't know. I guess not. I guess never mind then. I was going to say something that helped me preclude sorrow, I guess I should say, but that's not exactly the same thing.
Well, for the sake of this, I will accept strategies used to cultivate happiness. So I will even accept happiness.
Well, I mean, I severely limit my intake of any media that I know is a bummer. And that's not to say, like, I'm not talking about the news or something. Like, I'm talking about, like, shit I know is a bummer. Like the McElroy brothers have a hard rule on their live podcast where they have people on to talk. Their rule is no bummers. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, if it's if I know something is that I'm going to watch or someone wants to watch is going to have a bunch of sad shit in it, I'm just not going to watch it because I know it's going to fuck me up because I am prone to being fucked up by sadness. It's sort of my default disposition. And like, you know, a good example is The Walking Dead. I watched The Walking Dead for a long, and then it got to the point where every episode was like getting kicked in the dick. I was like, I don't want to do this. This just makes me sad. I'm not going to watch this shit anymore.
Yeah. That's a good example.
Yeah, and that's a good point, to just limit the things that will bum you out. Like, I hope I'm not distilling what you said too much into something too simple, Ryan.
That's it, yeah.
But I think that that's an important point, is to try to limit the stuff that bums you out. Recognize the things that bum you out, and if you can, limit your exposure to them. Media-wise, anyway.
Yeah.
I think I have an unhealthy approach when it comes to this. I think that, you know, I do the usual, like, try to use food and or drink to instill happiness / joy in my life if I'm trying to artificially create it, which never really works. That has to kind of come organically. So I don't know that I really have a technique or strategy to try to cultivate joy. Maybe what I could think of, like around the holidays and stuff, you know, I really try to be very deliberate and plan experiences around holidays and you know, special days and even if it's just like a date night or something where I try to, which I have not done a good job of this lately, in between holidays and stuff like that, but try to cultivate an experience that would hopefully elicit joy. But I also am one of those kind of people that I have to be careful with that, because I will then set expectation for myself. And if it doesn't,
which kills joy. Yeah.
which kills joy. So, I have to try to do enough and then be like, whatever it is enough. Like, we don't have to keep like raising the stakes and make it bigger and better. Which like right now I'm trying to do for Valentine's Day, for example. And I've got something very nice planned, a nice experience and a nice like activity. And I'm like, is that enough? What else should we be doing? I got to start as soon as we wake up and go hard until midnight, you know? And so I got to back off of that and be like, it's enough. Just enjoy what it is.
Yeah. And David, I would say that I would consider you a pretty happy guy. Would I be wrong in saying that you're a pretty overall just happy dude?
Yeah, I think
at this point in your life anyway.
Yeah, I am. I mean, even in my times of less like good, environment experience, I never really. I was always pretty happy. Like, it's hard to get me unhappy or down. I think as I'm getting older, I am a little more curmudgeon-y. Like, I will definitely just kind of like be like, throughout the day a little bit more. Oh, Kira's giving the nod of yeah. But even that, it's just like, I just want to be curmudgeon-y, It's not like I'm not unhappy. I'm just like,
oh, dude, I am never more of an old man than I am at the self-checkout line.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, God, I hate it. I fucking hate everything about it. Like, I'm grumbling the entire time, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are making more money than they have ever made in their entire careers. Like, not the cashiers, but the companies.
Right.
Yet they hire less cashiers, and they make you do the fucking work to save money. And I think it's disgusting that they cut hours. Like, I go to the dollar store here, there's like one person working behind the counter. Like, the dollar store here has turned the self-checkouts off because people were stealing too much. So now to use the self-checkout, you need to have a cashier work the self-checkout for you.
Oh, wow.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Oh, that really fucking
See, I'm already turning old man. I get spitfire about this shit.
Or you've got class consciousness, bro.
or that too. Can I also get a little bit curmudgeon-y on old manny about this? Exactly.
Let's have old man talk for a second. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's our new segment. Grumble, grumble, old man talk. So, like the street construction workers, the guys that just stand there, guys and gals that just stand there with the slow sign, and they'll turn it around to stop and slow.
Yeah.
And tell you when you can go. Robots are taking this over now. Have you seen this?
No.
Have you seen this? Yeah. Robots is taking it over now, man. So there's like a little thing where it has like a little like a crossroad, like a train's coming by, right? The little thing that comes down. And it'll tell you when to stop across your lane, and then like a flashing light and all that good stuff. And like the other cars will come, and then on the opposite side, a little thing will come down and tell them to stop, and then yours will go up. And robots is taking the jobs. Mm-hmm. Grumble, grumble.
There's going to be nobody left. It's going to be all robots.
Grumble, grumble. All robots.
So my thing for finding happiness in uncertain times is, wait, what was my question? Specific strategies used to cultivate joy. Okay. A lot of times I think it's hard to find happiness during these times. So joy is even tougher for me, because in the worst of times, you don't even think about joy because you just want to be happy. You just want to find happiness, or at least be fucking okay. So in those times, I think a good meal helps me. Eating something delicious, something I haven't had in a while. Having a breakthrough on something I've been working on. So again, going back to art or writing, breaking through on something I've been stuck on. There's been times where I've worked on a map. I've put 8-10 hours into a map before, and then just fucking trashed the entire thing, deleted it. Like, I'm done. This sucks. But then when I can actually go back and revisit something sometimes, it's a nice feeling. And then also, dare I say it, guys, I know we're an adult podcast. Sometimes having a good orgasm brings you joy. I mean, there's a chemical explanation to that. Absolutely. Yeah.
You get the brain chemicals that release.
Yeah. It's a good release.
Yep. So those are the things that help me. And those are all the questions I have. So did you have anything, David, as far as like gray matter munchies or anything we might?
Yeah, we could do gray matter munchies.
Do we have time? Do you want to do a short one or?
Yeah, we got time. We're at
Okay, cool.
We're at an hour now, but we usually go about hour 10, so that's fine.
Nice.
Gray Matter Munchies. Let's see. So I've been watching a lot of Korean television, as we were talking about before we started recording.
But only North Korean television. You like that
Yes.
propaganda
A
channel.
lot
Yeah.
of propaganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to watch my actors starve.
About dear leader.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So much to the point where I can't off the top of my head think of what it all is, so I have to look at Kira to remind me of what we've been watching. So the most recent one, Sweet Home, yes. With Sweet Home we just started, and that's like it's like people are turning into monsters, not quite zombies, turning into actual monsters and like different types of monsters, and it seems like it's going to go pretty buck wild from what we could tell, but it hasn't gone far. We watched this show called, there's only one episode of it out, but it releases weekly, called Chef in My Fridge, which has chefs on it, and then guests they like go and take everything out of the refrigerator and bring it to the set, and then the chefs have to make stuff out of it. And it's just kind of over the top and silly.
That sounds fun.
It is fun, but what's really cool about it is that it has a lot of chefs that were on this show called Culinary Class Wars, which was a big time Korean cooking competition. So we're seeing some people from that, and it's just interesting to kind of see their dynamics after that show on this show. What else? What was the other? Oh, Physical 100. We watched, there's 2 seasons of Physical 100, which is exactly that. Ryan, I actually think you would like this show. I don't know why I think that, but I really do think you would like it. It is literally like the search for the perfect body, right? But it's like all these different types of people. So like gymnasts and bodybuilders and sumo wrestlers and just all kinds of different athletes go through this pretty over the top Korean game show, physical challenges to see, and process of elimination to see who comes out on top. And it's just any Korean game show is just like, I mean, you think of the show Squid Game, it's like that in some different form, basically. Like, it's all over the top and really big and just a lot cooler. I do not like reality television. I do not like American reality shows, but Korean shows are just so like high production value and just really cool. And they're just nice. Like, they're nice to each other. They want each other to succeed. It's like one of you is going to win and the rest of you aren't, but they all act like everyone's going to win. Like, they just are very supportive of each other and caring and not backstabbing. And,
The Devil's Plan. That was great.
Oh yeah, The Devil's Plan is another one that was similar to that, where they were like got locked into this game, like they couldn't leave, and then they go to sleep, and then they go and play a game each day, and they get eliminated. And there's like little secrets like throughout, like even like their living space and all this crazy stuff. It's really cool. And like there's lots of them that we've watched. The Siren Island or whatever. That one was buck wild. It's like literally they have like these little bases and little teams, and they go and like raid each other's bases and like beat the shit out of each other to try to like nicely, but they beat the shit out of each other.
They nicely punch each other.
I mean, there's times where they like have shovels, and you're like, is she gonna kill that girl? Like, it's
about to watch a snuff film.
But all so we've been watching a lot of that kind of stuff, but needless to say, and I don't know, some other stuff, but we've been playing a lot of games. We beat The Witness puzzle game. We just started Talos Principle. And I started a game called Baba Is You, which is like a word syntax puzzle where you move words around and it changes like what character you are and what the rules are to win the level and like different aspects of the level just by moving words around and stuff. It's really cool. So that's the kind of stuff I've been doing. What about you guys?
I have actually been, the only show that I've really been watching is New Girl, which is an old sitcom from like the early 2010s that I didn't watch. But I kept getting, weirdly, clips from it on my TikTok feed. And they would just be these out of context, like little clips that someone would post on TikTok. And they were fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Like every single one I get, I'd be like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. So I just decided after like getting a bunch of these, I just decided to watch it. And it was empirically fucking hilarious. So if you ever need like a good sitcom that's actually very, very, very funny, I recommend New Girl.
Oh yeah, it is good.
And Jake Johnson is in it, and he is the voice of Peter Parker in the Spider-Verse animated films. And in that show, in New Girl, he plays the most Peter Parker I've ever seen someone be in live action. Like, his character is Spider-Man without spider powers, as far as like he's like a lovable loser, like he plays the perfect Peter Parker, to the point where I was like, it is a crime against mankind that he never got to play this character in real life. Like, absolute tragedy.
Yeah. You've not seen it, have you, Brandon?
No, I haven't. Is that the one that has Zooey Deschanel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it. I keep getting recommended, I can't even remember the name of the show, but it's got two girls who are waitresses.
Oh.
And they live together, and they're roommates, and it's got Kat Dennings, I think, is one of them.
It's something Better Off Broke, but something broke. Two
broke girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look that funny from the clips I've watched, so I don't know. It just looks like kind of another...
Just watch New Girl.
Sitcom.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching anything. I don't really watch stuff anyways. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. A lot of the same podcasts I always listen to, so really nothing new there. A lot of the Goosebuds is one where they review Goosebumps stuff.
Nice.
And then System Mastery, where they review bad tabletop role-playing games. And then they have a brother podcast to System Mastery called Movie Mastery, where they have a long list of movies that people suggest, and then they roll a die, and whatever the die rolls on is the movie they watch, and then they review it.
That's kind of cool.
So that's fun. There's a lot of good ones. Last episode was Kraven the Hunter. They talked about, which they just saw in theaters.
Terrible.
Yeah, they did not have very much good stuff to say about Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, I got to think that
but
Sony's going out on that one, because they can just keep pooping out poop.
Going out on a big feathery fart.
Yeah.
I do want to suggest a movie to you guys. I don't know what it's streaming on. I don't think it's on Netflix, but I'm sure you could find it online, because I did. It's called One Cut of the Dead. Have I mentioned this to you guys before?
No.
Or have you heard of it? Okay, so it is a about 30 to 40 minute long zombie movie done in entirely one shot, one take, one camera. And then, so the first 35 to 40 minutes of the movie is that, and then it turns the rest of the movie into like an actual movie about the creation of the one-shot zombie film. If that makes sense. So you see the zombie movie first, and then you see the creation of the zombie movie. And it's not like a documentary, it's actors. But it's incredible to see an entire movie done in one shot. I know it's been done before, but a zombie movie where, like, there's one point in it where the cameraman is kind of a character and kind of not. Like, it's sort of nebulous because it's a Japanese movie. I think it's Japanese. But the cameraman is running after a woman, like following her as she's being chased by a zombie, and the cameraman trips and drops the camera, and then a zombie falls on them. And then somebody else just picks up the camera. Like, the camera sits just looking at the grass for like 15 seconds. And then somebody snatches up the camera and runs and starts filming again. And then, like, in the story of the movie, you find out that, like, oh, they tripped and that's what happened, so they had to improvise. But it's a good movie. I speak very highly of One Cut of the Dead. Yeah. So I'd recommend checking it out.
That's good. I have a similar recommendation, actually. I messaged you guys about it yesterday, I guess is when we watched it, or 2 days ago, whenever it was. The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah.
Dude. One of, if not the best zombie movie I've ever seen, because it both is and isn't a zombie movie. It 100% is a zombie movie, but it's Bill Murray and Adam Driver and Carol Kane and like a slew of other people. RZA's in it, like a bunch of people are in it, right?
Yeah.
And it does not take itself seriously. I don't want to ruin like some of the little surprises, but I will say it breaks the fourth wall a lot, even with the theme song. The theme song breaks the fourth wall in like such a beautiful way. And it's Tom Waits is a big character in it.
I'm sold.
Yeah, and I'm a big Tom Waits fan, so highly recommend it. It is just irreverent. It's irreverent without being irreverent. It's silly without being silly. It has a commentary on society without being preachy. It is slow but like not boring. I don't know how to describe it. You've got to watch it. It came out in 2019. I didn't even realize it's on Netflix right now. So highly recommend that one. So I'll watch yours if you watch mine, and we'll compare notes.
Sure. One more time. What was the title?
The Dead Don't Die.
The Dead Don't Die.
And Ryan, I want you to watch Physical 100 and tell me what you think. I think you'll like it a lot. It's on Netflix as well.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah. Highly recommend it. I didn't do it justice in describing it. I think you would like it.
All right. Well, if that is all we have, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Ryan, do you have any closing thoughts on Joy to wrap us up?
I'm probably the last person to ask that, but
no, I think you're the best person to ask because you're the one that is hunting for joy. I feel like, you know.
I don't know. I think don't turn it away where you find it. Frankly, because I feel like a lot of times we tend to eschew certain things that bring us joy because we feel like maybe they shouldn't, or maybe they're not like I specifically think of like things that bring us joy that are like innocent or childish or something like that, and we tend to eschew that because we're supposed to be like more mature or wise or better put together or what have you. And I think that, you know, where you find it is where you find it, and it's in such a rare commodity that like I don't know that we necessarily get to be picky, frankly. So when you find it, where you find it, just appreciate it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful way to put.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for recording. Thanks, Ryan, for closing it. And until next time, I've been your host for this episode, Shepherd of the Forest, Brandon Full. And with me again is
your very best friend, Ryan Brown.
And I'm David Musgrave, the man kissed by all angels. And we're probably not okay.